Hello, I'm Bruce Zimmerman, host of the Open Line Garden Show, and this is the podcast for this week. Home and Garden Television. Yeah, okay. Some of us watch, some of us don't, some of us get it, some of us don't. But each year, they bring out new plant material, recommended plant material, and things that they feel that will add to your garden. Even if you've got some, these are better. When we come into plant material, we know they keep reading the better and better and better. So for 2013 and 14, here are some of the plants that Home and Garden Television is recommending for you, and you should be able to start seeing these at your local garden centers. Now, azaleas, because I've got people listening from all over the place, I want you to understand that where I am, these are not an outdoor plant, okay? Forget it. They just won't do. They're not hardy. But there are a number of them. These are all evergreen or semi-evergreen, what they call azaleas. Azaleas are rhododendrons. Remember that, okay? Not all, no, never mind. Okay, we won't get into it. It's too long, too complicated, but if you have somebody who's calling your azaleas rhododendrons, then you know that they're not exactly dum-dums, okay? You might want to listen to what they actually have to say. They might have some experience. Most of these are only hardy to zone 6B or A with some protection. And there is one pure white one called Julia. I like this one. I'm not a fan of white, but when it's white, and I mean pure white, it really stands out and it blends well and contrasts as well with other plants in the garden. And then there's Crimson Kate, and the Kate with a C, okay? Now this one is going to be 3 to 4 feet high and 3 feet wide. It's red, okay? And the blooms are medium size. Hardy to 6B, 6A with protection. But think of the contrast, the red and the white. Okay? Pretty good. There's Hot Pink Betty. Okay? Betty was very hot. Okay? 2 to 3 feet high and wide. It's a nice, tight dwarf. Fuchsia pink blooms. Again, 6A, 6B. Okay. So there's a couple of others, but there is also Eddie's Bright Pink. For those of you who are into pink, 4 to 5 feet high and wide. Still hardy to zone 6B, 6A, and it does rebloom spring, summer, fall. It loves the sun, 4 to 6 hours of morning light only each day, with light shade through the hot, dry afternoons. So you might farther south, if you're going into, let's say, zone 7 or 8, put this one into a container as well. One of the plants where I come from that was banned for, 40 years were barberries. When I was a young man, I used to make good money pruning barberry hedges because of the thorns. And of course, nobody wanted to do that because those thorns were like little needles. So I used to make good money doing that. I usually went and bought all my nice 78s and 45. Those are records for those of you who are much younger. And the barberries came back after breeding and being proven to be resistant to rust, which was rust that attacked grain crops. And personally, I never argued with them because I prefer to eat than look at barberry. But there are some nice barberries out, and Home and Garden Television are going to recommend these ones for 2013 and 14. Barney, okay, not rubble, just Barney, is going to be 16 to 18 inches high and 18 inches wide. It's a dwarf, low mount, deep burgundy foliage with a fall color of orange and red. Low seed count. Now that's important because a lot of times they seed themselves, become weedy, and they're never exactly true to their form. So that's one of the reasons why I get rid of the seedlings, and besides, half the time they're not anywhere near as good as the parent. Watson, as in Sherlock Holmes, Now, Watson is 18 inches high, 36 inches wide. Again, it's a low dwarf mound. It's hardy to zone 4, as in most of these are. It has a deep golden color with orange stem tips. So there is a fantastic color combination right there on the one plant. It is beautiful, low maintenance. No pruning is needed on that one. It is so neat and grows compact. Lois, as in Lois Lane, 51 inches high, 16 inches wide. Stop and think about that. That's a tight columnar. When was the last time you saw a barberry that grew straight up, basically? Hardy to zone 4. Coral orange foliage, which changes to a mid-green. Once it's established, this one actually is also drought resistant. All of these plants like fairly decent, moist, but well-drained soil. So remember that as well. In fact, Lois absolutely hates having her feet wet. Okay? Ethel, we won't go there. Ethel is also known as Rosy Rocket. Now, 47 inches high and 16 inches wide, so it's another columnar. It's not going to take a lot of space in your garden. It's going to be an excellent specimen plant. It's going to attract your eye. The foliage is variegated in soft pink and deep burgundy. Drought tolerance once it's established, good fall color, and of course, well-drained soil. So these are plants that either are nice and round or very upright and going to clean themselves up really well. They have some vines in here, which I'm going to skip mainly because most people are not really going to use these vines unless you are much farther south. And there are ones that are hardy. Okay. Okay, I'll do one. How about raspberry sunrise honeysuckle? Okay, so I don't like honeysuckles, okay? 5 to 6 feet high, 18 to 30 inches wide, hardy to zone 4, fragrant, spring and summer blooming. It's got basically a white with a pink blush in it, or you could call it raspberry pink. And, of course, it attracts hummingbirds and butterflies. And it is scented. It loves the sun. So if you like honeysuckle, there. I have this thing about honeysuckle. I don't like them. They always seem to forget mildew for me. Okay. Cranberry vanilla honeysuckle. Sounds good enough to eat. 5 to 6 feet high, 18 to 30 inches wide, hardy to zone 4, fragrant, spring and summer blooming. It can be grown as a shrub, vine, or ground cover. And again, attracts hummingbirds and butterflies. Yeah, it loves the sun. So if you're going to grow some vines, they're not too bad. Maybe I'm just biased. Gardenias, they've got 2 gardenias that they're going to recommend. These are for southern gardeners. Jumbo lemon drop, which is absolutely gorgeous. The problem with this one is a lot of people, when they see the color, are going to think of the older varieties of gardenias, which yellow as they age. This is the color. It's going to be 2 to 2.5 feet high and wide. It's only hardy to 8B. Okay, so you know you're going to be bringing this one in and trying to winter it as well. So containerize it and bring it in. They have scented pearls, 2 feet high and wide, hardy to zone 8, small, white, button, double flowers. It's like scented pearls, okay? So very, very nice. It actually works as a houseplant both inside and out. So if you're going to put it out for the landscape, but you want to grow it in a container and bring it in for the winter, this would be the one you would choose of these 2. Happy Berry Hypericums. Okay, these are nice plants, hardy to zone 5. They come in a whole bunch of different colors. A lot of people with some protection do grow these. even here where I am, 18 to 24 inches high and wide in most cases. And what you'll find is you get different colors. Okay, so crimson powdered is one, and it's fragrant. It's got a variegated foliage, sort of pink. Okay, and the berries turn red and purple black. Peppermint perk is a cross. How do I do this one? It's 18 to 24 inches high and wide, bright yellow flowers. The berries in bright red and crisp white. Nice combination. Autumn Earth Mix. Now this one is an 18 to 24 inch wide, yellow flowers. The berries are a soft coral and a rich chocolate brown. Now the chocolate brown is not going to show up unless you're putting this somewhere where it can be seen up front, because it's not a color the eye stands out and really catches. So try and place that one correctly in your garden. Pastel Pep is a bright yellow flowers. The berries are soft pink and bright light green. This one's sort of the most common of the combinations that we talk about. Try them. They're a little more different. Lantanas are the next one. They are drought resistant. Here's the thing about lantanas. Lantanas, you can grow yourself into a tree form. You can keep them in a bush. You grow them in containers. Bring them in for the winter, out for the summer. Love the sun. Very tough. Don't get a lot of problems. One thing, and this is key and critical to each and every one of us. Every green part of this plant is poisonous to people, including the berries. Okay? So, as pretty as it is, remember, it is poisonous. So if you have young children who maybe don't understand, this is a plant to avoid until they're much older and can understand. Potentillas, I like potentillas. Okay, there's two of them newer ones, which seem to be maintaining color, which seems to be a problem with the more colorful ones. Cutie Pie Pink. Okay, pale rose peach colored blooms early summer through fall. And it's really quite a nice looking one. So you may want to try this one. And then there is Lemon Sweetie. Now, pale cream colored blooms early fall, summer and fall. 3 feet, high, wide, compact, round, like most potentillas. Give them a trim on these ones to keep them neat in the spring. New growth will increase and give you more flowers, and it absolutely hates wet feet, so well-drained soils. I'm not going to do monkey flower because I hate monkey flowers, and I won't change my mind. Hydrangeas, there's a lot of them. So what do? You pick the one you like. Pick the one that blooms when you like. Pick the color you like and the shape that you don't already have, okay, in your garden. Okay, so let's do this one. Peppermint Swirl. Why this one? Because the petals are peppermint candy variegation. In other words, two-tone pink, rose, pink, dark pink, etc. You can also make this blue with the same sort of coloration in it. So by changing the pH of the soil, like most hydrangeas, you get a nice blue plant instead of pink. 3 feet high and wide. So, hardy to zone 5. Blooms in late spring until frost. Okay, good. I don't have that one. That would be one I would pick. Then there's Salsa. Now this is a white with a pink edge and 2 to 3 feet high, 3 to 5 feet wide. Hardy to zone 5. Has dark red foliage with red stems, okay, behind them. Bicolor red and white flowers with shades of pink, and it is pretty. Okay, it reminds me of the Piketty begonias if you're tuberous begonias, if you were ever growing those. Very, very nice. Double dusty pink, mainly because you can make it blue or pink, and because it's a double, sort of a rose shape, compact in height, but does get nice and wide to fill in gaps. and hardy to zone 5. It's spring until frost for bloom, so that's another reason. The halos is a hydrangea that's 3 to 4 feet high, 3 to 5 feet wide, zone 5 hardiness. Stems are blooming, but it's bicolor. By that I mean each petal on each flower has a white edge, and if you make it blue, it's blue and white. If you leave the pH of the soil alone, it'll be most likely pink and white. Adds interest to the garden without doing a great deal, okay? That's why I like those hydrangeas. There are others. There are some that I am not very particular on. But I will say this. Try white embers. Now, it's a little more open. 3 to 5 feet high, 3 to 4 feet wide, hardy to zone 3. Now, there's things. Very upright, particularly during blooming. The flower clusters open cream, mature to pink by midsummer, and deepen to a burgundy red by late summer, early fall. You've got some interest and you've got some change there, okay? And so try this one. The hardiness is a good factor. There are a couple others you can look for, white blush being another one, and sugar puff. But of the three, I like I do like white embers, okay? Diva roses, take a look at them. They're basically nice shrub roses that are been bred to be clean and easy to grow. Think of them as more of a shrub rose, more of a small flowered, many flowered roses. And of course, hardy to zone 5. So you should be able to get them almost everywhere. If you really want to go into those, go into some of the newer ones as well, not just these ones, because there's a lot of disease-resistant roses out there. Always look for ADR roses. The ADR roses are a European standard for disease resistance, and they're always the best. When you get an ADR rose, you know you're going to be doing less work, less spraying, and just less problems all around. Fragrance is always important. So they brought out a collection of fragrance. You can take a look at them. There is some petites in here as well. Now most of these plants all will attract butterflies, monarchs, swallowtails throughout the summer. They come in different sizes. They are buddleias, okay, or you're used to the old Buddleia Davidii. These are the petites. So hardy to zone 5 in most cases, and 2 to 2.5 feet high in most cases as well. There's a few there though that can get a little higher, so read the label carefully. Cotton candy has a tendency to get to 4 to 5 feet high and wide. It's a little big, but at least for my garden. But look at the petites, and I think you really like them. Non-invasive, ground cover type habits, lavender flowers all summer, and I think the blueberry petite is my favorite, or lavender. I'm not into lavender, so try that one. In the buddleias that are much bigger, these are still hardy to zone 5. The one I would take a look at is Apricot Grand, just because of its unusual colors. It's very upright, very big, 6 to 8 feet, 4 to 6 feet wide, dense, aromatic, gray-green foliage, blooms and blooms and blooms, apricot-colored blooms, early summer to frost. And if you've got a spot, back corner, there it is. 2 mock oranges. I've been out of mock oranges for a long time because of the diseases that they always get, all that nice black spots on the leaves, etc. These seem to be a little better. Both will attract bees and butterflies. Squeeze of Lime is the one that I would take a look at. I am a little biased towards variegated foliage because I think they give the most bang for your buck in the garden. 4 to 6 feet high and wide, hardy to zone 4. The leaves are green and white edged. Fragrant blooms, variegated foliage. What more can you ask? Full sun, by the way. Pale moonbeams. Now, one of the reasons I like this one is you let this one get a little out of hand. It has a tendency to throw long little branches because it is big. It's going to be 6 to 10 feet high, but it throws them out and they're clothed in white flowers. Hardy to zone 4. They're single flowers. They're fragrant, but it blooms and blooms very heavily when it's in bloom. So take a look. That form, that shape, that texture will make an excellent contrast in the back of a garden to everything else you've got there. Okay? There are additional shrubs in here that you can try. The one that I would like to point out is Blush Bell's trumpet flower. The reason I do this is I've grown them. They always seem to get too big. They have to come in for the winter. Large containers. They always get too big, and then either I got to find them a new home or cut them back and eventually find them a new home. Blush Bell's trumpet flower, or Brugmansia Little Angel. Okay, this is a true dwarf one, 36 to 48 inches high and wide. Okay, of course it's hardy to zone 10, so you know you're bringing it in. Okay, creamy white blooms that turn apricot color interest. The blooms are 4 to 6 inches long, fragrant. Hummingbirds love them. Loves the sun. Adds great color and contrast to your garden because the flowers hang down like angels' trumpets. So try that one. And it would definitely be a good one to add into the garden because you know, being a true dwarf, that it's not going to outgrow the pot and your yard and your home quickly. Okay? There is a cedar. Now, normally you can't crank my dear heart up with a cedar, but Golden Feather is actually a Thuya baccata, and I do like baccata cedars. Okay, they're 23 inches high and 4 feet wide. That's slim. That's tall. Hardy to zone 5, and a rich golden yellow foliage. Love it. Evergreen, year-round golden foliage. Notice I said year-round. Not seasonal, year-round. So definitely one that you can add to a garden either as contrast, as a specimen. Can you imagine a hedge of this one? And you know, it won't get too tall on you. Okay? So it might. Now, let's see. How are my eyes these days? I take it back. It's going to get too tall on you. You're going to have to keep it down. It's not 2 to 3 feet tall. It's 23 feet tall. There's a difference. So, in any case, remember, I said 23 feet tall, okay? So, but it is going to make an excellent one. So, try those ones. There are a few other shrubs that you're going to see from HGTV for 2013 and 14 in their plant collection, but this should give you a good indication and spur on your interest outside when the winter is dull and gray. This is the way to inspire you. Keep up your joie de vie of gardening by looking at plants like these and finding out where you can go and put them in the garden. It's one of the reasons why I don't mind when a plant dies. It's an opportunity in your garden to plant and try something new, hopefully better. I'm Bruce Zimmerman. This is this week's Open Line Garden Show podcast.